How you doing, lovely people? Alexander here, and taking this moment to quickly share with you something about health that I've really got the point of it, the juice of it recently, but actually first time I've discovered about 10 years ago. And that is that fruit is the ultimate health solution, right? Is the absolute necessity for being healthy, being vibrant, for that vibrant health, for that energy, for that clarity, for that mental clarity, for good digestion, good stomach health, for easy breathing, for unblocked nose, for easy bowel movement, for good sleep, great rest. Okay, is the ultimate answer. And since a couple of yoga courses, my memory kind of got freshened up, and I really remembered how summer of 2012 was actually, that summer is something I've called the best summer of my life up to a certain point. You know, for a couple of years after that, for about 5-6 years after, I called that summer the best summer of my life. I was on my in my healthiest. I was on my healthiest form, on my healthiest diet at that point, which wasn't all fruit at all. But this is the first time I started eating fruit salad in the morning instead of having a heavy breakfast of like chicken Kievs or bread or pasta or British breakfast, you know, sausage, egg, bacon. And I felt such incredible energy, such lightness, such clarity, and such happiness. I was really happy. I was flying. It was crazy. Now that summer is when I discovered the power of fasting. Water fasts of 24 to 36 hours or 3-day water fasts. I was recommended the book by my roommate. I was sharing a room with a guy. He worked as a lorry driver, and he was working night shifts. And he was like, "Man, but you don't need to eat." And when he told me, like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You don't need to eat. And you can go for a day without food, no problem." I was like, "What? If you don't eat, you're gonna die." That's how. That's what I believed, and a lot of people believe that. Maybe even today. So he recommended me a book called The Miracle of Fasting by Paul Bragg. And that book mainly focuses on fasting, the benefits of fasting, but since really there isn't much to say, but you know, to highlight the benefits, share some of his stories, share some of the stories of his clients, provide some references of other people mentioning the power of fasting, including Jesus, right? Very, very beloved Christian leader. Or was he even a Christian leader? But a very, very beloved figure by Christians. And he mentioned a lot of presidents, I think Benjamin Franklin, all sorts of other people, even I think Aristotle or some of the Greek philosophers, and a lot of modern people as well. He provided references for that. And once the book, kind of that topic was, and obviously how to fast, you know, recommendations on how to fast, when to fast, how to break fasting, how many days to do. And he recommends that up to 10 days most people can do, but at least start small. 16 hours is fine, so you get used to that. But the rest of the book, he covered other health aspects, fresh air, breathing properly, deep breathing, sunshine, reduce stress, and eat and food. He talked a lot about food. So pretty much the book is on fasting and diet mainly, but also covers other aspects, but primarily is that. And he shared a lot of the stuff that's very common knowledge at the moment now. But back then, when I was hearing that and I would tell other people, they thought that I was crazy. Talking about refined white flour, refined rice, that these things are not healthy. Refined grains are not healthy. He recommended to eat whole grains, brown bread, brown rice, that kind of stuff. To reduce consumption of meat to maybe every other day, only one time a day instead of 3 times a day every day. So, you know, I cut my meat intake in about, you know, reduced my meat intake by about 5 times, started eating way healthier, removed all the chocolates. I had a pretty clean diet. I wouldn't say 100% clean, but a pretty clean diet. And I would eat fruit salad pretty much every morning. I would fast once a week or every 10 days. Sometimes I would do 3-day fasts. And I would sunbathe a lot. And I was exercising a lot already before. I was already in a good momentum of exercise. Actually, that was probably, besides the time when I was a competitive rower, on my own, because kind of, you know, my mom inspired me, encouraged me, forced me to do rowing in a way, and I liked it. But you know, there was a big push. There was a big push from my parents, which was great, and I'm really grateful to her for that. But on my own volition, that was first time I started exercising. About 2-3 months prior to me being introduced to fasting. So it was in a good momentum, and I was just eating a lot, and a lot of the food was pretty crap. And so then that shift alone, with the good momentum of exercise, really transformed my life, and I felt great. I felt so connected to the world. I had such clarity, such sense of wonder of like, wow, the world is so vast and great and beautiful and incredible. Like my experience of being alive was so beautiful. It was crazy. My conversations with the opposite sex, with women, got a lot better. Like a lot more women were interested in me. I was smooth all of a sudden, and before I was more of a, at least in my experience, more of a geek engineer. And I mean, some women did tell me that, especially from high school. They weren't too shy to share. But that was like first time in my life I had that natural smoothness. You know, the way I would shake a girl's hand, the way I would look in her eyes, the things I would say, even just the courage to come up to a girl and start speaking to her, even at work. You know, I worked in McDonald's back then actually, which is another aspect of how I managed my diet, which obviously I barely ate McDonald's, and if I would, it would be just like a slab of meat and some salad with it, which is not the healthiest, but you know, compared to how I used to eat before, massive improvement. And so, and so my diet was very high raw, very high raw. You know, at least I'd say bare minimum 30, but probably 50-60% raw, right? Probably 50-60% raw, at least 50% raw. You know, there would be times where I would just eat like a mango, a couple bananas, and things like that. But I wasn't even aware of the healing power of food back then. But just from that book, from improving my diet, you know, just raising up a couple levels, I was able to access something beyond, something really beyond. And funny enough, this is the first time I started looking into yoga. Just a little bit, you know, a couple positions, headstands, this and that. I read bits and bobs, but it never clicked. There was nobody around me. I didn't kind of look for a mentor. I looked at some books and a couple videos, and that was kind of it. And maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe I didn't need it at the time because I was already quite connected. I was sunbathing, I was exercising, I was eating healthy, I was fasting, I was waking up early. I never actually at that summer I never watched any junk TV or kind of crappy videos. Now it wasn't as available as it is now, but still, when I would watch something, I would instead watch a documentary. So the clarity was intense. So if you're looking for that kind of clarity, really introduce fruit into your diet. Now it doesn't have to be all fruit all the time, but even before you have a big meal, you can have a couple of citrus or a couple of bananas, ideally juicy fruit. You know, start with the watermelon. Don't leave fruit at the end. Start with fruit, have some fruit, wait 10-15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes ideally, and then proceed with your normal meal. And add some fresh salad, add some vegetables, and it's gonna be really good. I promise you, you will experience something beyond. Okay? And if you're old, it might take a bit more time for that to settle in and for you to feel it. But I promise you, the next level of your health is with fruit. Fruit. And fruit. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. And I'll see you next time.